back to another installment of Mike Catfish. Okay, now we're going to check, see if y'all can hear me. Turns out you can. Glad to have everybody here. We're going to get this shindig on the road. So with any luck, oh yeah. Oh, you little fellers have done that, haven't you? So I left my friends together thinking they would hang out and be happy together. They thought differently. They were like, we're going to see what we can do to mess his life up. Give me just a second. So I was fishing earlier this afternoon. And I had some baits that were still alive and lively. So I stuck them in a bucket on the hooks. I thought, surely they won't get too wrapped up. I don't know who Shirley is, but Shirley need to think a little harder about it. Give me just a couple of minutes here, folks. We're going to try to get all these little friends untangled. Definitely should have seen this coming. I'm making progress. One of the baits even managed to get himself off his hook. So kudos to him. For his short-lived experience with freedom. So at least I've got the one that doesn't have a fish on it fighting me this whole time. So once I get the free hook freed from this entanglement, it'll at least give us something to start with. Okay. There's one of the 4 rods. Well, only 2 more are tangled, so. You know what? Just unhook you. Stop it. That will make this easier. Okay. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. Okay. So rod number 2 is free. Now we just have to untangle rod number 3 from itself. All right. So here we go with a live pinfish. We'll set him as far right as we can. A little further would have been more fun, but we'll take what we got right now. And rod number 2, get down here and get me some bait. Up. We have our second rod out. Clicker set, get that done. This guy really is working hard to get away from me. He's gonna get there if he ain't careful. All right. There he is. Grab my fourth rod, bait net, and here's the one that got off earlier. He got the hook ripped out of him. Go a little lower on his tail. We'll cast this one out to our left. Thank you for everybody who has joined. We'll be with the chat in just a moment. Just getting all the rods out. Getting the baits set. Bullets and Barbecue, thank you so much. Hey, Kaz, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Moose the Dog. Hey, I am fishing in Pensacola off of the Intracoastal Waterway. Just over here to the right is an island, and that is in Alabama. Straight ahead is back in Florida. What am I fishing for, Wave? Man, what am I hoping for? What am I going to catch? Two different things, right? So, I'm fishing for whatever is kind enough to bite. But what I would like to catch would be things like sheep's head, red drum, black drum. Like to catch it. Hook. Some Spanish mackerel, some spotted sea trout, any of those. Now, what I've been catching have been things like hardhead catfish and gar, believe it or not, and caught a sand trout, caught a couple of gaff top sail cats, and otherwise it's been pinfish and croaker for bait. I've been fishing those. I'm using salted shrimp on a sabiki rig. So rod number 2 from the left, you just saw it got a couple of little pulls. That is the pinfish bait. out doing his thing, going, get me out of here, bro. So the two center rods are bait casters with clickers on them, and the two outer rods are spinning reels that have rear drag. So there's no chance of anything just pulling a rod out or just breaking me off instantly, because those are all going to give. So the salted shrimp have worked out nice for me. What I do is I go, if I can find never frozen shrimp, I'll take them, prefer them. But if not, I'll take previously frozen, thaw them out, dry them off with paper towels. Get as dry as you can. Throw them in a container. And then you throw on a can of non-iodized salt. So plain salt, just not the iodized salt, because iodine is not good for fish. It's a necessary nutrient for humans, but fish not so much. And you just keep them covered, and that salt will extract the moisture. It will toughen up the shrimp, preserves them so you don't need refrigeration, and they will last a long time. Now, I have a crab net that I've gotten no joy on. Still no joy. I have a crab pot out. I'm going to check that as well, crab trap. See if I've got any love in it. It's got a hardhead catfish that's been cut in half, put in the bait section. I have not caught any crabs off of the trap or the net yet, but I did catch a blue crab last night on a rod. So it was my last rod last night when I was bringing it in. Had a crab attached to it, and he managed to come all the way up. And because he was my last, I was done fishing for the evening. I was thinking I was going to let him go. And then he grabbed me with a claw, told me what he thought of life, drew blood, and I used him earlier as bait. I did not catch anything earlier with him in the bait, but 3 of his 4 quarters, 1 of the quarters got casted off, unfortunately. 2 of them, the shell was completely gone off the hook when I was done, and I hooked him through the knuckle. So it was through the part of the shell. The other one was hooked actually through the shell, and it did not get, it got cleaned out, but the shell did come back in. But I had never fished with crab before, never caught a crab before. So that was an experience. Not necessarily the most brilliant experience I've ever had, but it was an experience. So I've got a couple of baits down in this flow troll, and I'm going to take, I've got a couple of baits left in here, in this 5-gallon bucket, which has been using an aerator. But it, oh, there he is. Like, I thought I had one more bait in there. This is a little one. Perfect size for bait. Most of the others are a little big. Okay. So while the aerator helps, get oxygen back in the water, what it doesn't do is clean the water. Because these little guys, they don't have bathrooms like we do. So they go where they feel like it. which is where they live. And so the ammonia from the urine and the nastiness from their feces it's toxic to them, believe it or not. So that's why I prefer to put them in the Floetrol bucket. What I wish I had was one of those old minnow buckets from when I was a kid that have it's just a metal bucket with holes in it. Well, the liner has holes in it, and that way it could actually sink down. The Floetrols, it has some weight in the bottom of it, but flotation in the top because it's supposed to stay on top of the water, which it does. The problem is I just wish that, which is great for its purpose, which is to troll alongside the boat or the kayak or whatever. But in this case, I wish they could get a little deeper into some of the cooler water and that kind of stuff. But the water's not that hot right now. At the end of last summer, I had gotten some fresh shrimp, live shrimp, and the ones that expired ended up turning pink. They got poached in the Gulf. And not all of them died, but the ones that did, they literally got cooked in the Gulf. I'm back here. I'm off camera, which I think you figured since you don't see me. But I'm trying to catch some pinfish. Pinfish are my bait, or croaker, or another sand trout would be nice. There's one. Hey, little bitty one. But he'll work. That's actually a good bait size. Anything can eat that. So in the freshwater, I tend to fish for bluegill, crappie, and blue cats. And blue cats have some big honking mouths, flatheads too. Even channel cats have big mouths. So they can take big baits. A lot of these saltwater species, the mouth is not that big. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not like, taking in a 6-inch bait. The pinfish that I actually caught the crab on last night, he was a pretty big bait. And it was funny because I caught a hardhead catfish on that same bait previously, earlier that evening. And that hardhead catfish had delusions of grandeur. There was no way that bait was going to fit in its mouth. But in any case, so, the bait survived that unscathed, and then the crab got hold of him. And the hardheads, they've been ranging about a half pound to maybe 2 pounds high. They don't get very big. I don't know exactly how big they get, but they don't get big like blue cats or flatheads or even channel cats. The hardheads get a little bigger. I think they are the hardhead. The sail cats, they get up to about 8 pounds, I think. The ones I've been catching are 2 to 3 pounds. And I caught 2 gar last night. One was about 3 foot and the other one about 2.5 foot. I was not prepared to catch gar. It was not on my list of expectations. I didn't even know that they would come this far into the saltwater. But with all the storms dropping so much water, the bay feeds into the intracoastal, and the freshwater rivers feed into the bay. So there is some, maybe a little lower salinity than you'd get in the Gulf proper, but the Gulf is literally on the other side of the barrier island. The water quality has dropped since this morning. It's just dirtier. It's been fairly clean, especially considering that we just went through a big storm. But in any case, that's where we're at. Appreciate y'all dropping in. Please do hit the like button, subscribe if you like fishing. We're going to be here till Friday. And normally I fish up near Memphis, Tennessee. Hello, Santiago. We don't, man, I only speak English, bro. Hey, beautiful. My darling fiance's here.
Hey, do you know where the onion and the bell pepper are that we bought yesterday? I can't find them anywhere. And they are on the receipt.
I remember seeing them.
Like after we got here.
Well, Jack would have been unpacking them, right?
He doesn't recall.
Did you check like the produce drawer or something?
We looked all through there. We looked through the pantry. I can't find them. It's in the bed of the truck.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they wouldn't be there.
I know, but I mean,
I'm
just telling you I double checked that.
No idea.
Or I'm just worried we didn't get them from the store.
Well, I mean, that's... I don't know.
I don't know. Here we go. And literally just those two things, which I need to put in tonight.
He didn't use them in the stir fry, did he?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
I talked about putting an onion in. I was like, I'll either take the second one home or we'll throw both in tonight's stuff or whatever. And I didn't even locate them last night.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry, they've been out running around, hit the arcade today. Wave, I don't know if they were long nose or spotted. They had spots on them, but they also had a very long nose. And I didn't bother looking up the difference between the two of what would make it a spotted versus a long nose. It was definitely not a short nose. Betsy, catching anything? We just started a few minutes ago. I've got 4 pinfish out, live bait, and I am fishing for more pinfish for bait. But nothing that we want has come in yet. As far as somebody asked about spinning or casting, I got 2 bait casters, 2 spinning. 2 bait casters are in the center. They are the PC Fun Alios 400 low profile bait casters. They're 400 size, so they've got, they can hold a lot of line, and they have a really nice bait clicker on them, as well as a magnetic spool control. The 2 rods on the outside, they're identical. They're Spinfisher 6 combos, 6,500 size. They're live liners, so they got the rear drag. The different coloration on the 2 rods on the end, that is tape from Amazon, because it responds to black lights, and I'll put a black light out later tonight. Light things up, make them all pretty. So that's kind of where we're at. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the thumbs up, folks. And if you like fishing, I do go fishing regularly. I'm going to be doing a lot of kayak fishing this summer, I hope. We didn't bring the kayak down here to Florida because of the storm, and my left leg has been bothering me, and I've been cramping up really bad. I didn't want to go overboard and have to play a game of sink or swim. Man, this is a big boat coming in. So towards the back, you'll see, it'll come and be in a second. You'll see a big crane and in the middle you see these triangular looking things. Those are actually like artificial reefs. They put those out. They're trying to bring back the population of oysters. The oyster population got decimated. I think it was I believe it was one of the oil spills. It's been a decade or two ago, and they expected that it was going to come up this far, and they took all the regulations off of oysters and said, no limits, take it all, because they're going to get killed anyway. And so they decimated the population, but the oil spill never made it up here. And it's been trying to recover since. I've talked to, I don't remember what the name of the group is, but they're basically an organization trying to take care of the oysters. So this third rod from the left or second from the right, your choice. When the pinfish start tapping like that, it usually means that there's something in the area trying to get them, and they're trying to get away. So when they get finicky like that, that's always a good sign. Anyway, these thingamajobbers, the people I talked to about the oysters, they're not supposed to really have a known population in this waterway, the intercoastal here, or even up in Perdido Bay. But there are oysters attached to this dock. So there are oysters in here. It's just not an established population, no big oyster beds or anything like that. And oysters are important to the ecosystem because they filter the water. And as this area has grown up, a lot of these houses have septic tanks, which can overflow and leach into this water. And so even when the oyster population comes back, it's going to take a while before the water samples get down so that there's not high enough E. coli and all that kind of stuff that they can be harvested. This is a no harvest area for oysters. Okay, so you hear the birds in front of me. They look ducky. They sound goofy. But they look like ducks. There's one over here to the right. There's two. There was a third one, which I guess went diving for food. I think they're talking to each other. Yep, there they go down looking for food. Fortunately, I do not have a pinfish right where they're diving, so that's nice. I don't want to catch a duck. Don't want to catch a dolphin either. Don't want to catch a manatee, although that's highly unlikely to begin with. That, folks, is what we call music. So these are circle hooks. I'm just going to tighten it up. Let whatever it is pull and set the hook itself. And swing and a miss. But I can still feel tapping. Now that does not need to be that duck. Keep going, Mr. Duck. This is not free. Yeah, okay, so he's up. That's good. I was feeling that pinfish still. My line keeps slacking even when I bring it up, so I see my pinfish. And he's still flapping. So nothing got him, or nothing kept him. I'll make sure that hook point is exposed enough. Yeah. So that felt like a really good start to my night, but not so much. Didn't see marks on him like a crab had gotten him. Tried wandering off with him, but swing and a miss. Oh, now my sabiki rig over here is tangled upon itself. First, I've got to get my goofy jig out of the dock. I use a little, they call them goofy jigs. People use them with teasers for pompano. The more I have to fight with that goofy jig, the more I'm going to wreck my sabiki rig. See if I can get him over the runners under here, joist, whatever they're called. Do believe that is not coming out easily. Grab my pliers and see if I can pull on him and get him up. I may have just lost that jig. Nope, got it back. Not really sure how he got as far down as he did, but he did. So I'll untie these flies from each other. The downside of a sabiki rig, they tie up on themselves real quick. I did see some dolphins earlier today. They were on my previous live right at the very beginning. And there's a short on my channel from some dolphins I saw yesterday. One of them just came right up next to the dock. It was beautiful. They are gorgeous creatures. Now, if I catch a shark, I will be happy. I would like to catch one. I would like to catch one that I'm allowed to keep. But there are several different types of sharks, and some of them are on the do not land list, so you can't take their gills out of water. And some of them are are unable to be harvested. Some of them have minimum lengths. And oddly enough, the great white shark is one of them that you can't land. Because that's the one everybody's scared of. I mean, that's not why you can't land them. They just don't have the numbers to support being harvested, I don't think. Okay, got sabiki rig untangled enough that I can put some bait on it. And with the wind, it really makes these rigs hard to control. These flies are ultra, ultra, ultra light. They have probably a size 10 or 12 hook on them. And I have caught pinfish without putting any bait on them, but they seem to really prefer that there be either shrimp or worm, some kind of little morsel of food there for them. A neighbor came over last night and introduced himself to me. I mean, Ashley's dad owns this place and, of course, knows his neighbors and everything, but he said I was welcome to go fish over on his dock and told me a little bit about the bottom structure here. I went over today and caught 3 or 4 pinfish off of his dock, which was what I was trying to catch. So, and pinfish are like the bluegill or sunfish of the Gulf. They will peck your bait off in a heartbeat. They are very lively. Flop around a lot, makes them hard to catch because even when you hook them, they get off real easy. Because like I say, they just flip around. When I landed that blue crab last night, I mean, I've never seen a live blue crab before. Well, when he got on the dock, he just started flapping because they've got 2 rear flippers, I think 6 legs, and 2 very strong pinchers. I knew they could draw blood. I just didn't mean for them to prove it to me, but he did. He got me on the thumb, and the best way to get a blue crab to let go of what it's holding on to is to wait till it's ready to let go. Though they're very, very strong. Had a little pair of crab gripper thing. Basically looks like scissors that don't cut. And I grabbed him with those, and he grabbed onto those with both claws. Kind of funny to watch once my hands were not near it. I'll be back and read chat here in a minute. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Like I said, when I'm back home, I fish for bluegill, crappie, catfish mostly. I do have a playlist that I've been working on my channel for knot strength. So I've got some knot tying videos, but I also have a whole bunch of knot strength tests. I've got a pull force tester and a linear actuator that does the pulling, so it's consistent but not super slow pull. It's about 0.7 inches per second. And I've changed my thoughts on several knots because of those tests. And my goal isn't to tell you what to tie, but rather to provide you data points. And I mean, other people have done, a lot of people have done knot tests, but they either didn't test the knots I wanted to test with the line strengths I wanted to test or the type of line or whatever, or I didn't like their testing methodology. You know, one of them, a lot of people will, hook it up to like a fish scale and pull really, really slowly until it finally breaks. Well, that's not how the fish is going to pull on your line, right? I mean, when your line breaks is when a fish turns or when you set the hook, something that provides fast stress. So I got the fastest linear actuator I could reasonably purchase. And, testing everything from 20 pound, 60 pound. I've even got some 100-pound tests out there. I'm going to twist you just for a second here, folks. Hey, Real Time. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, John Parker at Real Time Catfishing. He's got a channel. He goes out. He is a professional catfisherman, so he says. Always a good show. Favorite thing about days like this, how to get into fish. Before I answer that, I'm going to show you guys something really cool. On the dock next door, if I can zoom in far enough, you can see the bird there. That, I believe that's a blue heron / egret. Beautiful bird. What you're seeing on the left, that's just feathers of his getting hit by the wind, blowing out. And get you swung back over here. So, favorite thing about day, it's gorgeous, man. It is freaking gorgeous out here. It is. I always made fun of people with, stickers on their car that say like Salt Life. Like, yeah. Here in Tennessee, you're doing a lot of Salt Life there, buddy. And, I realize it's a brand and stuff, but I hadn't seen the ocean since I was a kid. I had never fished it. And came down here a couple of years ago when I was dating Ashley, and who I'm now engaged to, and got saltwater fish for the first time and fell in love with it. I have way too much gear. I do have an issue with gear acquisition syndrome as it is. But, I watched the channels down here because I knew I was coming down. I need to find out, what everybody uses down here, what kind of gear I need. So I ended up with Spin Fisher 6s and, surf rods and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, you need the shorter rods for this kind of stuff. And saltwater, you want to get gear that is made for saltwater because saltwater is so highly corrosive. And so I've got way too many reels, way too many rods just for saltwater. And of course, they can work fine in freshwater. They're overbuilt for freshwater, if anything. That's not a bad thing. So if you see the lines tapping, that's going to be the live pinfish bait that I'm using. They're, trying to get away from things. All of my rods, so the two center rods, bait casters with clickers, and the two rods on the end both have rear drag on those spinning reels. They're the live liner models. So there's not going to, something's not going to grab hold of it and break me off immediately because I'm not right there. Everything's got circle hooks on it. Inline circles, not stainless steel. Some of the fish species are regulated to where you have to use non-offset circle hooks or inline circles, same thing. So I prefer to use those anyway. They have a lower mortality rate than even regular, than the offset circle hooks. And of course, offset circle hooks have a much lower mortality rate for fish than J hooks and such, because even when they swallow, the shape of the hook allows it to come out of their throat, past their throat without getting hooked. The offset ones have a better chance of getting hooked on the way out than the non-offset, but they also have a higher hookup rate. And since I typically am releasing whatever I catch, I want to do as little damage to them as possible, right? It is kind of windy out here. I'm hoping that you guys can't hear the wind. I have not heard a single complaint about the wind when I was using this DJI Mic Mini. I love these things. They are super lightweight. They have a transmitter and receiver. So they're supposed to be, and they are. You can connect them via Bluetooth as well with the standard Bluetooth range. The problem is on neither one of my phones, even though it connects via Bluetooth, when I'm on YouTube or even when you're using voice recorders, it doesn't record from the external microphone. I don't get it. Now, I mean, if I was using earbuds, it'd be fine. So I don't understand why it's not working unless it's some kind of way that they're fine. Now, on DJI's site, they do have a list of supported phones. But, I was of the opinion, hey, it's Bluetooth. Bluetooth is Bluetooth, right? But it does not work through Bluetooth on the phones the way I thought they would. Now, they will work with the DJI action cameras via Bluetooth. But you get what is it, 30 feet, 30 meters, I forget what the distance limit is. With the transmitter and receiver combination, so the transmitter is the microphone, the receiver is attached, plugs into the USB-C port on the phone or camera. It's like 400 yards, something absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's more than 3 football fields of distance. Of course, that's, clear line of sight and all that kind of stuff, but still. I've gone on the neighbor's dock and I believe it was still working. I didn't have verification one way or the other that it was or wasn't. But I think it's kind of neat. And these microphones are ungodly light. They're something like 10 grams, I think that's what, I forget what. I may be making up the 10 gram part, but I have shot videos. And then a few hours later, when I go to bed, I take my shirt off. I'm like, what was that on my shirt? Oh, that's the microphone. You forget it's there. Honestly, forget it's there. And it has I don't know, 10 or 11 hours. It's either 9 and 10 or 10 and 11 hours between the receiver and the transmitter. You get 2 transmitters, 2 microphones. And it has pass-through charging. So like right now, my phone is charging while using the microphone. And so the receiver part is not depleting its battery either. Here, you sit right there and you think about things. I'm going to go get a little de-hooker off for you. Of course, by the time I get the de-hooker, you'll probably de-hook yourself. But these are nice with sabiki rigs because there's so many little hooks here. Even if it doesn't, people who are smarter than me can get these. They just basically flip it the right way and the fish comes off. But even if not, you can segregate that one little dropper that he's on because they flip around so hard that they get the other hook stuck in you. So that's kind of nice. By the way, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I've paid money for every piece of equipment. My money. Full price. Well, most of the stuff I get is on sale, but it's a public sale. It's not a discount for mentioning their product or reviews or any of that nonsense. So I talk about the products I like. I don't sell my opinions. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't like some sponsorships, but I would only take sponsorships from companies I like, products that I like and use already. If they want to send me something free to check out, I'll check it out. But you're going to you may not like what you hear. You're going to hear the truth. You going to come off the easy way? Nope. Like I say, at least I've got him segregated. This one, you got my little de-hooker in there. There he is. Now the Mic Mini is not cheap. You can get it with just one transmitter, or one receiver rather. One transmitter. Sorry, one microphone. Just the microphone by itself and a little charger. I think it's like $69, but the kit that I have, it's the 2 microphones, the receiver, a charging case that has its own battery in it, so it can charge all 3 pieces like 3.6 times, I believe. And everything fits in the case, including the dead cats. So the dead cat windscreen stays on the microphone. They do come off. They clip on and off. Whoopsies. Now you're going to go through the hole, aren't you? You are. Come here. Sorry. And it comes with 2 sets of dead cats. One in the color of the microphones that you get. So if you get white, you get white. And black, you get black. And also a set of gray ones. And I just prefer the gray ones. So that's what I keep on mine. Also comes with a 3.5-inch cable. Or 3.5 millimeter cable for connecting to cameras that use that type of interface, and I guess it would work with a phone. I probably ought to try it and see, just for giggles. And but that set's $169. Comes with a little padded cloth carrying case and a USB charging cable. The cable, not the charger. But I like that everything fits in that one little box, the little charging box, with the dead cats attached. Because I've gone through at least 5 other sets of microphones. I've got 2 at the house, or 2 extras. I've returned the others. And the pass-through charging phones do. But you can charge your phone while using the device. And that's important because if you're doing a live stream, you get maybe a couple hours of live streaming out of your phone before it goes belly up. I did learn something Sunday or Monday. Sunday. It wasn't charging. And I tested it at home. And I knew that it would, but it was not charging the phone. And I realized if I'm plugged into a wall adapter, it's fine, the 120 volt. I was plugged into USB-A on my power banks instead of the USB-C. So it's going USB-A to USB-C. And once I use a USB-C to USB-C cable, that fixed the issue. I just wasn't getting either enough voltage or enough amperage for it to charge and operate the microphone, or the receiver of the microphone. Now the microphone was working fine. It just, I'd plug it in, it'd act like it was charging for about 10 seconds or so, and then just stop charging. And somebody asked me what got me into fishing, or what made me start fishing. I grew up on a farm. And back in those days, you didn't have cell phones, and if you wanted to watch TV, you had to be in front of it when your show came on. This DVR stuff. So living out in the country, had to occupy myself. Fishing was that way. Hey, MVP, good to see you. Hey, Corrado. Oh, forgot to charge your mics. See, that's one of the things I really like about this DJI mic. You know, I charge the case. The case charges the transmitter and the receivers, or the transmitters and the receiver, and just pick that box up and I'm ready to go. And if I forget to charge it the night before, it doesn't matter because it's still got some charge from previous. So I had one good run on the third rod from the left, but it didn't convert into anything. So this left rod is getting a little bit of movement. Now these are all live pinfish, so you may see the tips move a little bit as the pinfish moves around, but that also means that if it does a lot of little taps, it means that pinfish is trying to get away from something. Something's in the area that's got it disturbed. So it's a good harbinger of the possibility of a future good bite. But I reeled that rod, when I missed the fish, I reeled it back in. The pinfish looked perfectly fine. So he went back out and swimming around some more. I would really like to catch a sheep's head while I'm down here. Sheep's head are I want to say they're related to drum. I think they're the same family, but their mouths are different. They have like human incisors. So you pull the front lip up on those things and it looks like human teeth. First time I saw one, I swore somebody had photoshopped it. I thought, oh, that's funny. Nope, that's real. And then even behind that first row of teeth, they got a whole bunch more teeth back there. And what they do is they'll come up to bridges and piers and anywhere that barnacles grow, and they chew barnacles off. And they crunch crabs, and you do not want to. Most fish in salt water you don't want to lip. They have a lot of them have some gnarly teeth. And my second rod's getting a little went slack. Let's see what happens. They're all on Carolina rigs with a 4-ounce pyramid sinker, which is a little overkill. So now that line's tightening back up. But my goal when I started coming down here was I figured I'd do a lot of surf fishing. And now it's slacked back up. So something's going on down there. Something has moved that sinker. And these pinfish are not likely to be able to do that. Not very far anyway. So let me set that down in such a way that hopefully I don't wreck it. So it's moving to the side. There we go. We got us a fish. What do we have? No, not again. Oh, he let loose. Last night I caught 2 gar. That was another gar. As I'm looking down as I'm reeling that fish in, because I think it was dark, but I still had a light down there. I'm like, that looks like a gar. That can't be a gar. Gar wouldn't be out here. Turns out I was wrong. This one's a 7/0 hook. So I'll take the bigger pinfish bait that was in there. They started off as 5/0. They became 7/0. on two of them because I had to cut hook off because of the gar. But I was happy to catch the gar for the reason of being on these PC Fun Alios reels, because I've been wanting to see, how they perform against bigger fish. And for anybody who's caught gar, you know that they are fighters. And it did a great job with those. I mean, I expected them to, but it's one of those things that you always want to know for yourself. Now, let's see this one's out to the left, so cast over it. These poles holding up the roof make it difficult to cast. So my casts are not as nice as I'd like. I've hit the roof with a couple of baits. Actually, I think the sinker hits the roof and then the bait flies off, but in any case, it ends up with not having a bait. Hey, Real Alive, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Rude, good to see you, my friend. Hello, Scotty from Fun Fishing Adventures. How you doing, my friend? Today has been a bust. I have not caught anything today. Did a stream earlier and went to look at my chat and it was spinning and I'm like, what's going on? And then go to look at, then go to pull it back up. It's like, stream ended 23 minutes ago. I'm like, it did? Because my phone thought it was still working. Still was streaming. I'm like, well, that tells me all I needed to know. I did just have a gar on, but he kept the bait and said, see ya, sucker. Well, Scotty, I got the 4 rods, plus I got a bait rod. I got like 3 different bait rods up here, and I got a 4th one that's got a topwater plug on it. Can't tell you how much I don't like. I used to like bass fishing. I don't like bass fishing anymore. So topwater plugs are just not really a lot of fun to me. But if you've ever caught a fish on a topwater plug, that is fun. Explosive hits. Downside is when the fish comes up to hit it and all he does is knock the bait out of the water. You're like, well, there's some heartbreak. Okay, something did something there. I think it's the far right rod. I'd say it's the wind, but the left rod wasn't tapping at the same time. So, I mean, that's just the pinfish. Like I say, he's trying to. There's somebody in the neighborhood he doesn't like, so he's trying to get away from it. But it could mean that it's going to go off pretty soon. And Scotty, last night as I was closing up my stream, the last rod, I reeled it in. There's a blue crab attached to it. And I landed that blue crab. And he gripped hold of my thumb. I thought I had him gripped in the right spot, that he couldn't do that. I was wrong. And people that tell you that they hurt and can draw blood, they do hurt and they can draw blood. I used him as bait today earlier, and things seemed to like it as bait, but they did not. Nothing came to visit me. I think I just saw the right rod do a little more bouncing. I'm back here behind things trying to. Oh, trying to catch some bait. I'm always trying to catch bait. I ran out of pinfish yesterday, and now I got frazzled. Up until yesterday, I didn't know I could run out of pinfish. So I was sitting there with one of my rods with an empty hook, doing my best to catch pinfish. And man, if the sabiki rigs were just not getting all tangled up and jangled up, and said a few words, had a little vocabulary lesson with some of my viewers, was not proud of myself. Sometimes I get so frustrated, it just keeps feeding itself. There's a little pinfish. Hello, my little Mr. Pinfish. So these are about the size I want to catch for bait. It's pretty much anything I'm after can eat these. Like I say, saltwater fish don't necessarily have huge mouths like, well, not all of them. Yeah, like largemouth bass, striped bass, which they don't have down here in the Gulf because it's too hot for them. At least not this part of the Gulf, from what I'm told. So, now Spanish mackerel have pretty good sized mouths compared to the size of their body. Sea trout, pretty good. Red drum, not so much. Pompano, definitely not so much. Of course, Pompano, they said, from what I've heard, the spring run has not started yet. There are some pompano showing up in the surf, but not in the big numbers where everybody's out there just hammering them left and right. I do want to go surf fishing while I'm here. I may go tomorrow. I caught a Scotty fish. I like that one, Scotty. He's not too small for bait, though. And everybody, if you're looking for more content to watch, Scotty from Fun Fishing Adventure is a great guy to watch. He fishes up in Missouri. Sometimes he'll fish local ponds. Sometimes he'll hit the Mississippi River looking for catfish. Good guy to watch. We give each other grief every chance we get. Real friendly guy. He did a review recently on a truck camping tent. Did a good job on that. I had found out about those a few months ago. And when I got my truck, I'm like, ooh, I need one of those. And then I watched some videos back before Scotty did his. And one of the things was, yeah, they're nice, but when you want to go somewhere, you got to get rid of the truck. You got to take the tent out of the bed. So, if you're going to stay in the same area for a few days, that's cool. But just be prepared to unload the tent, take it off the bed of the truck if you've got somewhere you want to go. Because Ashley likes to camp, or says she does. I don't. I like to camp where there is indoor plumbing and air conditioning. And tents don't have that. My tent is named Hotel. But this year at the East Tennessee Gathering, I've got a campsite already reserved for us. So we're going to go camping. It does have electricity, which I'm going to need for my CPAP or the fans and stuff like that, because, you know. And they do have restrooms. So, you know, camping out in the middle of the woods and pooping with the bears is not my idea of excitement. But she also likes to run for exercise and enjoyment and endorphins and stuff like that. Swear to you, she runs more a week than I drive. Between Amazon and the pandemic, I'm like, man, everything I want can be delivered. And if it can't be, almost everybody has curbside pickup. To varying degrees of success, but I think curbside pickup should be one of those things like, hey, I am on my way, be standing out there waiting. They're like, no, curbside pickup means you pull up, you let us know we're here, and when we feel like it, if that time ever comes, we will bring it out. Or the parking spaces for that, for curbside pickup, is right near the door. So if you want to walk in and pick it up then, while you're waiting on us, and more power to you, Holmes. But I started doing Walmart delivery for groceries. Oh my goodness. Just the idea of not having to step inside of a grocery store. I don't like people. Now I go to restaurants all the time because they have food there and people that bring it to me. But having to deal with other people in shopping environments is annoying. I appreciate all you folks jumping in. If you'd like to if you don't mind hitting that like button, I'd sure appreciate it. I'm trying to build my channel faster than Scotty builds his because, I don't know, competition is good for the soul or anything to poke at Scotty a little bit. Scotty's a good guy. But he gives me grief about the number of rods I have, and I give him grief about pretty much anything I can. It's starting to get a tad chilly out here. The wind blowing doesn't help. No, Skeeter, I wish everybody, you'd love me, Scotty. I wish the chat was frozen. I mean, I wish more people were here talking. I guess would be a better way of putting it. Sit close to the water. Yes, yes. I'm proud of me for having crabs too. You sit close to the water. That's not funny. For those who don't know, I have this. I was a guest on Scotty's Sunday Night Bites show. So he was fishing where he was fishing, and I was fishing where I was fishing. And I knew the the shore had a good slant to it, but I've been watching another channel and he's like, I think the algorithm prefers that the person in the live stream be visible in the live stream, and somehow it figures that out. So I was kind of sitting in front of the camera with the poles behind me. And I went to sit down in my chair, which was on an incline facing backwards. And I played roly-poly right out of that chair. And several people took the opportunity to make shorts out of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I like ribbing people, and I like a good ribbing, but some of them were just mean-spirited. And I also don't care for people who use other people's content to try to make money. And none of that comment is aimed at Scotty. Matter of fact, when I rolled over, I started laughing. I was like, man, I hope you got that on camera. That comment is aimed at some other people that I don't particularly care for. It's like, I don't want to help them become successful because I don't like the way they operate. So, again, not even remotely aimed at Scotty. Good-natured ribbon's one thing, another when you're just trying to be a jackass. So I think we all, YouTube has good people and they have some bad people. The fishing community has some good people and some not so good people. I'm proud to call a number of people in the catfish community friends. I'm also proud to call a couple of them enemies. They're not good people. Not naming names because it's not important. Who I like or don't like should have no opinion, no impact on whether you like them or not. And you kind of have to do something to get on my list of people I don't like. There are people whose content I don't like, and there are people I don't like. And they're not necessarily the same. They're not the same list. I had one guy that thought I didn't like him because I do troll and I make my jokes and stuff. I'm like, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't be in your channel. There are people who will go around trying to disrupt other channels. That's not me. If I don't like you, I just don't want to be anywhere. I just don't want to associate in any way. Like they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So, but I'm just, I don't want to give you any publicity if I don't care for you. Boxy 2296, shout outs are normally $150, but just today I am giving you a shout out. And Boxy, let me tell you something. That's just me being friendly and me being an old geezer. All you have to do to ever get shouted out in the chat, just say something, be part of the chat. I mean, I have called out every name that's been here, like tarpon fishing, Kirk Howell. Where am I fishing? Well, I'm fishing in Pensacola. What am I fishing for? Well, anything that'll bite. I would prefer to get some sheep's head and some speckled trout and red drum and black drum, and love to get some pompano, but they're not going to eat pinfish. Almost caught a gar earlier. I'll settle for gar. I'll settle for hardhead and gaff topsail catfish. Anything that makes the line go zing zing. And Boxy, so I don't understand shout outs, right? It's funny. I was watching Richard Gene, the fishing machine, doing a live stream one night. Somebody's like, "Can I get a shout out?" He's like, "Shout out to whatever the name was." I'm like, I don't really understand. I'm going to acknowledge anybody that comes into my chat and is behaving and engaging in the conversation. Does not mean I'm going to give moderator to many people. A lot of channels will do that so that, it's easier when you're a moderator. You can click on another user's name and go straight to their channel and subscribe like that. But to me, being a moderator is like giving somebody the keys to your house. Got to be somebody you trust that do a good job. Because a bad moderator can kick people out of your channel. There was one cancerous individual he would actually go back and replay live streams. So he could go into the chat and kick people out of the channel. So like if one of my moderators kicked you right now, I would see it. But if they go into a replay and do it, I don't see that. Never seen this live, but this is the best spot I've seen in a while. Well, honestly, I mean, I love this spot. Sitting out here in the Intercoastal Canal, straight ahead of me on the right there, that island is Alabama. Straight ahead, a little to the left, is a barrier island that is, at least that part of it's Florida. A little further down, it turns into Alabama. Kind of bait am I using? The big butterball. Big butterball. I like that. I'm using live pinfish. Pinfish are like they're shaped kind of like bluegill, and they are active. I mean, these things flip flop and everything else. They're just and they're firm like bluegill are, not like mushy like shad are. Of course, there's all kinds of bait fish down here in the Gulf. It's just that I can't get a hold of most of them. I've got some Atlantic croakers too, which to me look like baby red drum without the spot on the tail. I did not bring a windbreaker with me because I was like, oh, why would I need a jacket in Florida? I do have a pair of long pants in the house. I may go change into those. But Ashley's kids are on spring break this week, and so we took spring break down to Florida. I don't know if you can hear that rustling behind me. That's a hammock that's hanging up. Made out of like really thin ripstop. I don't know. Stuff. Ashley was taking a nap in the hammock yesterday. Ashley's got one more class to finish before her master's is over. So proud of her. Full-time job. 2 kids. Single parent. Going back for her master's to improve her career options and opportunities. Amazing lady. And then she goes running for, I don't know. I don't know why she goes running. She seems to think it's fun. And I have had a runner's high once in my life. I forgot how I got it. I don't think it was from running, but the endorphins are amazing. So I understand that part of it. This fat boy don't run. And she is looking damn fine. She looked fine when I met her, but she's lost about 50 pounds from running and exercising, and she looked, dare I say, hot. Smoking hot. Once I got divorced and started dating, you know, you'd see a picture of somebody like, well, what fool let them go? And then you'd meet them and go, oh, that was a smart man right there. And in her case, sucker. I think he figured out he lost. Best thing ever happened to him, but oh well. His loss is my gain. The funny part is I've got a crab trap out. I have a crab net out. And the only crab I caught was on rod and reel because it didn't want to let go of my bait. It's a good sized male crab. Or, you know, good size for a blue crab. When I told Ashley I was going to be fishing for crab while I was here, or hoping to catch crab in the crab net, she's like, oh, we're going to eat some blue crabs? Like, well, I was thinking for bait, but if I catch enough, I have not caught enough. I'm still over here trying to catch pinfish off the pier, or off the piers of the dock. Maybe the pinfish get called in for dinner time. I don't know. Let's be honest, Scotty. You want crabs. I do talk a lot. Dad 55 blows my mind. All he does is pour concrete and fish and run. It's nuts. He runs 14 miles. Ashley ran 25 on Sunday. She's training for her next. Well, it's several months away, but she's doing interval training. She's going to do I think right now she signed up for the 50K, but she's threatening to change that to the 50 mile. And then they also have 100K and 100 mile in that same day series, whatever, not weekend series. And yeah, some days she'll do 5 or 6. Some days she'll do, and it takes rest days, of course. 25 freaking miles. I do read chat. I'm just slow. I'm slow. I am very envious of Mark, who's NJ Fishing Maniac, because he will fish and he will stand in front of the camera the whole time, and unless he's baiting the rod or setting it off, and he's talking to chat, and he apparently is reading off of his phone, which means that he's got his face in a different way, and he is talking to everybody that comes in, and he is engaging. Of course, he's not trying to catch bait either, and oh, Big Bar Rails, man. Hey, I'm sorry, bro. I missed you. I apologize. I know I see you in other chats, and I apologize for missing you, my man. But it's like, hey, Scotty, why don't you watch that rod right there? Let me know what happens to that, man. I'm depending on you to make this rod go off. Can you do that, Scotty? Can you call in the fish for that rod right there? That's a Scotty rod. I expect you to make that work, Scotty. Austin, now he seems like he's a good guy. Austin, it's yours. I want you to get some fish on this rod. See who else is still sticking around and wants a rod. Got 6 of you folks in here. I don't know why anybody's here watching me, but hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Apologize that you don't have enough going on in your life that you're watching me, but I wouldn't watch me, so, but I'm thankful y'all do. I am blessed to have anybody watch my channel, especially to have people the caliber of you guys, Scotty included even. If I can keep from dropping this in the water, you don't know how scared I am of dropping stuff in the water. Every time something falls on the dock, I'm afraid it's going to find a way to fall between the boards. Sometimes they do, but most of the time things don't. The first few times I was fishing out here, I swear every pinfish that I dropped that hit the dock in any way, shape, or form could find a way. The board could be, the gap could be that wide, the pinfish this wide, and he still would fit down it. They were like magical creatures. I have done 5,677 steps today. Now, while that doesn't sound, my smartwatch tells me this. Why it doesn't sound exciting. 5,000 is my goal because I'm lazy. When I go dancing with Ashley, we go out on weekends, go dancing a lot. I would think that every step I take, it should track. Of course, it's on my wrist. I'm not sure how it would know what my feet are doing. But it's hard for me to get 5,000 steps, even starting at over 2,000 before I ever get there to start dancing. And we dance a lot. Usually she dances more than I do, but I'm out there at least half the songs. shaking my groove thing. So what I've decided, where I'm going with all this, is that my wash does not actually count those as steps as well as I'd like. I won't eat on microphone. I'll turn that off a second. But Scotty, did you check out my short from last night? Had a dolphin come right up, just a couple feet off the dock. Beautiful creatures, beautiful creatures. Mute this for a second. I'll be back. Hey, Braylon, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Those are not chips, actually. Those were Nutty Bars. But anyway, doesn't matter. Biggest fish ever caught. That'd probably be blue cat. I think it was like 23 pounds. Did catch a 3-foot gar last night off of here. Then another 2.5-foot gar. I tried to catch one tonight, but he decided he didn't want to come visit. I'm just doing a bait check real quick. I was about to put all these little pinfish that I caught into the flow troll bucket so that they get fresher water. But I'm like, well, how about you check and make sure you got bait on everything before you do that? I talk to myself a lot. I find myself to be much better company than having talked to Scotty. Scotty is Fun Fishing Adventures. We like to give each other grief. Yeah, that one's still doing his thing. So the first time I came out here, I lost a rod and reel. Something grabbed my bait, and the rod was over the chair next to me. Yeah. The chair was turned around. It was leaned up against the chair. Before I could reach over and grab the rod, it flew up and over the chair and into the water. So that was an experience. I'll tell you that since then, this was my last trip here, I had 2 different fish break me off. One went into the dock next door, and one went straight out. And I was trying to turn him, and I tightened my drag down, and away he went. Trying to catch the bigger pinfish in there, and all of them was catching the littler ones. So, put a little one on here. So this time, then I think I was using 20-pound braid and probably 20-pound mono leader. I have upped my game. I got a 50-pound braid on the spinning reels and 65-pound on the bait casters, and I think 60-pound mono leader on all of them. And I want to find out what I've been missing. Because, I mean, when a fish bolts like that, now the one that went into the neighbors wasn't, you know, it gets into another dock, you know you're kind of hosed. Or have a really good chance of being hosed. But the one that went straight forward, that one hurt. That was a heartbreaker. I'm like, I want to know what that was. Probably a stingray with my luck. I do not want to land a stingray. I learned from Steve Irwin that stingrays are not fun to play with. And while that was more of a freak accident than anything, just happened to hit him in the wrong spot. And then somebody that was with him decided to pull the stinger out. I think that's actually what killed him, was ripping the stinger back out. But in any case, even if you don't get stung in the heart, they get you somewhere else, they hurt a lot. I'm just not a fan of pain. I don't mind hooking one. I'm just not going to unhook him. He will get to keep that piercing. He can keep it as a remembrance of our time together. Now so I had 2 baits missing, 2 on. Now I'm going to take the other baits out of my bucket, the 5-gallon bucket here. That gets all of them. Put them in the little flow troll. So they can keep getting fresh water and get the waste removed and stuff. Hey, Bass Fishing 336. We are down here in Pensacola, Florida, trying to teach these fish a lesson. School is in session. Unfortunately, I am the student, not the teacher. And thank you. I appreciate the nice setup. So this is Ashley's dad's dock. So I don't get to make changes to it. He doesn't fish much. Might as well just say he doesn't fish. So I can't just screw rod holders into his dock. And I've had this T-bar for a few months. I bought it off Temu. Randy Swain told me about it. So that he's got, he had one. And he liked it, and it was sturdy. They're like $60. Comes with the 4 little rod holders on it. So I mounted a couple of 2x4s, and then put 1x4s above that to hold it to the dock. I'm using these little clips that go between the boards. You twist them, and it kind of rips the bottom of the board, and then eye bolts into those to hold everything down. Because yeah, once I lost that first rod, I was not looking forward to losing another one. I didn't mind losing that first reel. It was Cast King Rover. And I had brought it out here because I'm like, well, if I lose it or it gets gummed up, I don't care. But it had an 8-foot Abu Garcia rod on it. And I kind of wanted to keep that. Second rod, I should say, from the left. I think left rod just had a little pull on it. Now they are live pinfish, so the tips are going to gyrate every now and then. Especially as a predator comes close and they're trying to maneuver their way around. But it can also be a harbinger of a good bite's coming. I did catch 2 gar last night and had another one on earlier, but he got off. It was like, thank goodness, I don't mind landing them. It's funny, as hard as the gar fight, man, once I put them up here on the dock, they just kind of lay there like, okay, let's get this over with. We both know you ain't eating me. So, put me back in the water, we'll all be happy. Now, the left rod is supposed to be the one Scotty's supposed to be working on. He has not done a great job. Just saying. Now, the second rod, who was it I assigned that one to? That was Austin. Austin's doing pretty good. I mean, his fish is out there. He's hanging out. Now, that is a little bit larger of a pinfish, which is why he's moving around a little bit more. And while all you beautiful people are here talking amongst yourselves, liking the stream and doing all the fun jobs of, subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I put out a new video, I'm going to check my crab net over here, which I know has nothing in it. Nope. So there's a half of a pinfish and 2 weights. I'm going to go further down the dock here, almost to the shore. Check the crab trap. That one's got some hardhead catfish that has been turned into a 2-piece version. He's been out since yesterday. So I'm hoping that the crabs are wanting to like him. I've not caught anything in this crab trap yet. With the net, it's like a pier net. You lift it up, and if there happens to be a crab playing with your bait at that time, well, for real, yo, I caught a crab. Finally caught a crab in a crab trap. It's kind of funny. So the crab that I caught last night on the rod and reel, he was a good sized crab. He was definitely the eating type. If you eat crabs. I'll turn my light back on here. Grab my crab tongs. And we're going to get to look at this little baby crab together. That's a little bitty one. Now, I'm not upset that he's a little bitty one. He is big enough to make a bait. So the regulations in Florida, you can keep up to, did I just lose him? Did he fall out? Did he fall out? He did. I tilted the crab trap over. So I opened the door. And I opened the door and looked down, and it's got a couple of escape holes. They're required to have those escape holes. And it's, I think, 2 inches in diameter, something like that. So he got his freedom. So y'all don't get to see that crab. Doggone it. He was actually going to be he'd have made a good bait. Oh, well. Didn't even think he could get out of those. I wasn't thinking about those little holes. And the holes are so, you don't trap little things. Also, so turtles can get out and that kind of stuff. But he was about, I don't know, yay big. So I'm disappointed he got his freedom. But that's life. At least for him it is. I was looking forward to making him bait for a one-piece bait for something. But there's no minimum length. For conservation, they suggest you throw females back. If it's an egg-bearing female, you must throw it back. But you can keep up to 10 gallons of blue crab a day per angler. Now, I don't know if you just put them in 5-gallon buckets till you run out of room and then grab a second. I don't know how you count 10 gallons of crabs, especially if they're moving. But I did want to show that one to you. He was pretty. Well, it could have been a she. I don't know. I didn't look at its apron yet. Feel kind of stupid for letting it get away. If I'd opened it over the walkway, would have at least fallen onto the walkway for a second. The way I was holding it, he slipped out and right in the water. But that tells me that being in shallow water is the right spot. I let the fish take the bait off. No, sir. You were supposed to look. I had high expectations of you. I thought Scotty will not let me down. So I like these 2 anvil rods. Those are the 2 in the center. I think they're, good quality, good price, all that kind of stuff. But I think the white tip, I don't know if it's supposed to be a glow tip or not. But the problem is, actually, I don't think it's a glow tip. I think it's just a white tip. But you can see around the eyelets, even up to the top, it's got a little bit of the fluorescent reactive material or black light reactive material. But I wish it was the same color all the way up, because that chartreusey color really shows up good. So when the neighbor came over yesterday to talk to me, I had the crab traps in about 5.5 foot of water. And he that's way too deep. You're not going to catch any crabs. Of course, then I brought in the one on the rod and reel, so that, so I've been moving it. I started at about 3 feet, I think, earlier today. I moved it out a little bit, and then I moved it almost up to the shore. And that's when I caught that one crab. Uh-oh, Scotty. Are you going to come through for me, brother? I think Scotty is going to come through for us. I can feel the pecs on the line. I hope you can see the rod. So it is a bait feeder, and it does have circle hook on it. So I'm kind of hoping that whatever it is will take a run for the border. So I reeled it in, pulled the sinker a little bit just to see if the bait moving would get whatever was after it a bit more. But I have a feeling Scotty let the bait get off. Scotty. 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 I reeled in and see what we got. It does not feel like there's bait on there, but that is a small little bait. So even if it were on there, Scotty. 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 Really? Seagrass. Seagrass, Scotty. And you let the bait get off. Gosh, dog it, Scotty. We can't keep doing this, man. I have a lot of expectations for you, my friend. That's a size 5/0. See if we can find us a size 5/0 bait. Maybe keep Scotty from letting this one get screwed up. Gosh, dog it, Scotty. Rod would not have let that happen. Whoa, come back here. Oh. Well, accidentally pulled up a big pinfish. He got out of the water. Decided he didn't want to play this game anymore. He took leave and went away. I blame that on Scotty too. It wasn't me for having the bucket right next to the water or to the edge of the dock where you could just flip a couple of times and go. Because if it were my fault, I would take full responsibility. Like I bet Scotty is not taking responsibility for letting that fish go. If it were my fault, I would take responsibility. It's just the kind of stand-up guy I am. Take Mr. Pinfish here. Got this one hooked good too, Scotty. Okay, now I've hooked him good. Don't let me down again. I appreciate you though, Scotty. I really do. Oh, I'm going to miss it. Wow. 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 Scotty, that hurts. That hurts coming from you, my friend. Thought we were tighter than that. He's like, no, watch Mike screw this up. I mean, in fairness, I did screw it up, but I was hoping Scotty go, happens to it could happen to anybody, Mike. He's like, no, only happens to you, Mike, you idiot. That's why I never come down to Memphis to fish with you, Mike. So no, all you're going to do is screw it up. That's okay. I'd go up and fish with Scotty. Late last year, Ashley was doing a marathon up in Belleville, Illinois. I was like, while she's doing the marathon, I could go down and fish a few hours with Scotty. But the people we were staying with was one of her running friends. And her husband was going to go cheer on the race. So I went and cheered on the race. Nothing like a fat guy standing there telling you you're doing a good job running. But the running community is really cool. They all are very supportive of each other, cheer each other on. I thought it'd be a big competitive thing where, they're all trying to knock each other over and, every man for himself. But they are, and maybe in a more competitive group it would be, but man, they just cheer for each other the whole time. Early on in the video, I showed that heron. He's now right at the shoreline on the sand, just hanging out, looking for anything he can eat. Last night, her youngest came down and told me dinner was about ready. I said, okay, I'll be up in a few minutes. Because, I was going to just, let them eat and then come up there. But they waited for me to get up there, and I'm like, y'all did not have to wait for me to eat. She's like, well, Alex said you were headed up. I said, well, yeah, I said I'll be up in a few minutes. I didn't expect y'all to wait for me. So maybe this time they're not even telling me the dinner's ready. I'm like, well, you said don't wait for you. We did not. If there's anything left when you get here, congratulations on your luck. I'm over here trying to fish for bait again. See if I can get a little pinfish or two to replenish what I lost. So when the neighbor was over last night, he told me I was welcome to fish off his dock. I went over today and picked up a few pinfish off of it. His dock is, like, this one's 5.5, 6 feet deep. His is maybe 3 feet deep. I was surprised at the difference. There's one lot between the two properties, but it's 100, 150 feet away. So I didn't expect that drastic of a difference this close to shore, but it is. I don't know what this light does. Oh, this is the back of the dock light. Who knew? Well, I guess everybody but me. Don't need it, but at least now I know what it does. I like how these rods look under that black light. The two on the outside are actually black rods, but I bought some reactive tape off of Amazon, which is why they look different from each other. You're not paying $100 for a fishing license. Man, it's Memphis, land of the lawless. Nobody has licenses for anything. They don't even have licenses to drive. They don't even have real license plates on their cars. They sure don't have insurance. Okay, so you can't see this, but I can. The line on the Scotty rod, I'm not sure if it's just loose and it's the wind's blowing around, or if it's slacking and tightening, the slacking and tightening a little bit. Now the second rod is doing its thing. It's got a clicker on it, and then there we go. Are you paying attention, Scotty? This is how it's supposed to work. That sounds so garish, it's not even funny. I got something hooked. I'm not feeling rolls or head shakes yet, like a danged hardhead. I don't see it yet. It's a catfish of some sort. It's a hardhead. See, Scotty, that's all you had to do. Come here. Well, now quit your squirming. He's like, I want to talk. You can hear him. I mean, he's trying to talk to me. He's probably not saying good things. Probably talking about Scotty's family tree, to be honest with you. I ought to call these things hard in mouth. They are hard to get the hooks out of. Come here. Okay. This is the hardhead catfish, folks. His belly, I can feel it pressing up against me. He is full. They look a lot like channel cats. No spots. Have these big, gigantic nostrils. That's probably a pound and a half. Cute little fish. Bye-bye. Thanks for playing. Usually they start head shaking when they get close. There. Little bitty pinfish. Put him on here and send him out to find a friend. So we are officially not skunked. We got us a hothead catfish. For those who are not familiar, hardhead catfish are the bane of pretty much anybody who fishes saltwater. The only person I've ever heard that has eaten one and didn't say they were just horrible was Luke from Catfish and Carp. They said they're kind of like freshwater cats. But now the sail cats down here, some people will eat them and speak highly, somewhat highly of them. They're edible, They do not like the hardheads. And the surf fishing people, it's the bane of their existence. They're like, if the water's stirred up and dirty, I'm not even going out because all I'm going to catch is catfish. So, you too good to catch catfish? The majority of what I've caught have been here have been hardheads. I think I've caught 14 or 15 of them. Caught, I don't know, 3 or 4 sail cats, 3 gar, well, 2 gar, and almost a 3rd gar. Now hardheads are, they put up a pretty decent fight on lighter tackle. I mean, I am not undersized on tackle at all. I'm wanting whatever has broken my heart a few times. At least want to see it and know what it was, right? I did catch a glass-nose ray out here. Or, I'm sorry, glass-nose skate. Skates and rays look alike, but, well, they look similar. The skates don't have stingers. And they're very pretty. You see one from the bottom, they got the solid white bottom with 2, I don't know what they are. The eyes are actually on top of them, but it looks, the way it's shaped, I don't know if it's gills or, I don't know. But they look like they could be eyes, and then the mouth just looks like a very happy little creature. So I lived in Nashville for a while, and they used to have Opryland, which was a amusement park, kind of like Six Flags, maybe not quite as nice. They tore it down and they built the Opryland Mall. And inside the Opryland Mall, one of the businesses was a pet the stingrays. You pay your money, or this big pool of stingrays in there with the stingers removed. And, they swim by. You couldn't pick them up, but you could pet them, rub on them, whatever. It was cool. Kids enjoyed it. Well, there was a big flood. Flooded that mall. And all the stingrays died. Because, like I said, the water they were in flooded, and apparently those stingrays smelled atrocious once people were able to get back in to clean things up in there. Felt bad for the stingrays. Not a good way to die. But I'm like, their business model was really cool. Oh, catch some stingrays, remove the stinger, and put them in there. I mean, that's a cheap way of doing business. I mean, not the rent. Okay, so that left rod, again, there's a little bit of slack in that line. I don't know if I'm seeing it loose and tighten, or if I'm just seeing the wind. Yeah, it's just the wind. Well, there we go. Maybe I hadn't tightened it up enough before. I don't know. I promise you, whatever happened, it was Scotty's fault. Scotty, how is the sound quality? Are we hearing any wind noise? I'm hoping not. Hey, Caden. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, you're right. It would be a turtle. Yeah, I don't imagine I'd be happy if I had a hook in my face either. Yeah, well, I mean, pompano don't typically come into the intercoastal much. Plus, I'm using live pinfish, which is not their fare. Saltwater is awesome. NG Carson, good to see you. Good to see you. I catch more area in that area on casters or spinners. Well, I don't think it really matters. They're effectively, there's 50-pound braid versus 65-pound braid. The reason that I have the setup I have is I've got two of the Alios 400 reels. So that's why I have the two bait casters. I've been wanting to try. I've been using them, but I've been wanting to have a good fish on them, see how they handle it. And the gar, I think both of them were caught on those, and they performed perfect, which is what I expected. I just wanted to see it for myself before I could, recommend them with a big fish. And I mean, granted, the biggest of those gar is probably 10 pounds, but gar can, they can pull some drag and stuff. So the other two, I got a deal or found a closeout on the Spinfisher 6 combos, 6,500 size live liners. I picked up some previously for 139, then they went down to 99. I'm like, I can't pass that up. So I had to buy some more, which I did not need them, and I have some rods here, but I didn't know what I have, because by the time it's time to leave, I'm scurrying to get everything packed that I can, and don't really have an inventory of what I have down here already. So I wanted to make sure I had, short enough rods to use off of the dock. And I've also brought some surf gear, some surf rods, so I can go surf fishing. And in surf fishing, I'm going to be using, 20-pound braid and 20-pound mono leaders. Here I'm using 50 or 65-pound braid with 60-pound mono leaders. And that's just because I've had my heart broken 3 different times on this dock and have no idea what the fish was on the other end. So I was thinking I would bring in a little extra horsepower to see if I can't find out what it was. Not like the same fish is going to come back. I don't know what kind any of them were. One on the rod just went flying, and the other two broke off. One went to the dock over to the right and broke me off, and one went just straight out. And he was just ripping drag. So I tightened the drag down to try to, be able to turn him, and pop went that weasel. The heartbreaker. I mean, it could have been stingrays. It could have been pretty much anything. I don't know, but I want to know. And bringing in the first gar last night was a pain. So the dock is a few feet above the water because, incoming, outgoing tides and all that kind of stuff. I had my Cast King net extended as far as it'd go. I had to get down on my belly so I could get the net into the water. Uh-oh, rod number 3 says, hey! You know what rod number 3 and rod number 2 both have in common? Neither one of them are the rod I told Scotty to get a fish on. Oh, yeah. This is not feeling little. Sorry, I had to get my towel before I go. Oh. Probably a catfish. It feels like it's moving like one up. Oh, no, you're trying to go around some pilings, aren't you? Which means I have a bad feeling. You are a GAR. Nope. Looks like a catfish. It ain't even that big a one. And it's a hardhead. The sail cats are prettier. They have these long flowing fins. They're luxurious looking fish. That's hardhead number 2 on the day. I had a gar on earlier, but he got off. I don't know if I had him hooked or not, or if he was just hanging on the bait. There's my hardhead catfish. He's probably 2 pounds. I mean, I can't tell you how fat these things are, how firm that belly is. They look a lot, like I say, like a channel cat. The back fin is interesting shape. And these 2 rear, like anal fins, are very big and muscular. Well, very big and thick, I guess. And they have these 2 big nostrils. And that is the anatomy of a hardhead catfish. Thank you for playing. It's always good to see you. Come back anytime. Kind of funny, 2 days ago I was complaining about all the dang hardheads. And now I'm like, hey, thanks for coming. Come again. But he had a lot of good pull to him. All these saltwater fish do. Hey, Jerry, thanks for coming in again. I've heard sail cats taste good. I have not. I've not tried one yet because it's kind of weird. I tend to catch mostly hardheads or mostly sail cats. I don't know if there's conditions that are different that makes one type prefer those conditions or what, or just my luck. But that, and I'm really, not here to cook fish. Now, I mean, I will certainly, if I catch a redfish, I'm keeping it. If I catch a sheep's head, I'm keeping it. Speckled trout, probably not. Even though it's not actually a trout, I don't like trout. I don't like they're bony, and like I say, I realize that a speckled trout is not actually a trout. So it's kind of a stupid thing to say, but I don't know. Let's see. We've been doing this for 2.5 hours, folks. I got 28 thumbs up. I got 70 guys watching. I do appreciate you. You've heard that sail cats taste bad. That's strange. I've heard that the hardheads. I've not heard anybody say, "Man, I would sure like to eat a hardhead." People say that they're terrible, but then, if you cook it the way you're cooking a lot of these saltwater fish, like catfish, is kind of a southern specialty where you bread it and fry it, right? There's not a lot of people that are out looking for lemon pepper grilled and that kind of stuff. It's mostly fried. So, I don't know how bad a hardhead could taste fried. And I also don't know why a sail cat would taste considerably better, but I've not tried either one of them. But, I've also heard a lot of things about various knots. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this knot is 100% knot strength. The line will break before the knot will. I've tied those knots. Wrong answer, folks. I've only found one knot that holds true for, and that's the no knot snell, which honestly was not expected. Now the trilene doesn't always break. The Palomar doesn't always break before the line does, but most of the time. A lot of the time. I don't know. I'm using words. I have gigabits. I have caught 2 hardheads. It's starting to get a bit on the frigid side out here. I've been running this for 2.5 hours tonight, and I think I'm going to go ahead and go in and see what's for dinner. Spend some time with the fam. And pick this up tomorrow. I appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't hit that like button, I'd appreciate it if you did so. I will definitely, well, I definitely plan to be fishing the next 2 days out here. Possibly going surf fishing one or both days. Hopefully going surf fishing one or both days. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I have never seen anybody live stream surf fishing. Everything I've seen has been long form videos. In case you're wondering why I'm reeling them in on screen, there's nothing like when you go to reel your lines in and find out you actually accidentally have a fish on one. Just didn't know it. Last night, the last rod I reeled in came up with a blue crab, and I landed it. I was happy. Used him for bait today. The sea critters appreciated the bait, but it didn't actually catch anything on it. They just, picked it clean. I had seen the one blue crab before trying to come in on one of my baits. But of course he let loose when he saw me. He got top of water and said, screw this. Last night, he just kept coming, and I got him up on the dock before he let loose. And then once he let loose, oh man, those things flop a lot. I did catch a blue crab in my trap today. The first one I've actually caught in the trap. He was a small one, and I wasn't paying attention, and you have to have certain holes so that bycatch can get free. And when I tilted the trap the wrong way, he got out. And there's my crab net. The bait's finally gone off at. It's weird. It was a tail piece of a one of those larger pinfish, and I hook it on there not so that I can catch something on the hook, but just so the bait doesn't, it holds the bait there. But they've cleaned me out 3 or 4 times. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I am blessed beyond belief that y'all taking time out of your day to spend it with me and to watch me fish, and I appreciate it. Again, appreciate all the support. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a blessed evening. Scotty, Smarty Pants. See me on the surfboard. That's not how you surf fish. You fish from the surf, which is the show. Show enough. Gigabits. See, now I actually have a buddy that fishes He's out of Tampa, and his name is Gigability. Don't ask. That's literally his name. Don't Gigability. Don't ask. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. 17 of you, man. I hate to leave 17 of you here. Or maybe it's just that I'm leaving and you're going, yay, let's get some more viewers in there so he will leave faster. I don't know. Thanks for watching, folks. See you guys tomorrow.